Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Monday, June 30th, 2025. It's the last day of the month. Clearly, we have a huge month here to the upside, and we saw that on the weekend analysis, and we continue to see prices march higher. So we're not quite to our upper resistance levels yet that we're going to use as an objective short here, but we still want to see all of these indicators on the daily and the 65 so we can see how they develop and learn off of them. So we're going to do this video and go through it pretty quick. So you can play this at 1.25 or 1.5 speed if you want to get this information very, very quick and be able to watch this full video. I know that you have other things to do or could do. So thanks for joining us here. We're doing this intraday about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's PM Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. That's 99 cents a month, and I really appreciate all of the support that's out there. Now there's $4.99 a month individual stock analysis. We did a trade or a chart request for Toll Brothers today. We update on SPX and look at market conditions to see which way our bias is for our calls and puts, for our options, in other words, and cycles as well. So lots of cool information for just a little bit more, and please consider. So let's jump into it. We have SPX on the daily time frame. Here's a good look at the confluence of all of these trends. We can go up to any of them, okay? But on the lower time frame, we're looking for something very specific, and I want to show you that. So let's go through these. Here's our first. Maybe we don't get an actual reversal until we get this one here, this trend line. That's just from the top from 2022. This is from 2008 to 2008 to 2025. And then this is 1929 to 2000 to here. So just massive historic trend lines right there. So let's look at some of these. We're in a bullish stance right here. We're getting a little bit stretched out from the 8 EMA. I imagine we still could correct. I don't think we actually had our, I'm looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, and then a 4 somewhere in here, and then a 5. So we'll see if we get that or not. The McClellan oscillator. So at this point, we're looking for higher prices. So, breadth has not improved very much, but I could see it getting to that overbought territory once again. It doesn't have to. If you look at the past distribution area, we had this nice peak up here, just like we have here. And then we had negative divergence and it started to play out, but it never reached that overbought territory again. Okay, so this could just show signs of weakness and roll over, and eventually you don't get any overbought. You just have the first move to the downside. Now, again, on those individual analysis videos, we have some cycle lows that we'll be looking for. We're getting into those timings for on a larger time frame, so we could have a reversal here pretty soon. But you guys know that already. I'm looking for a top. Let's go to the MACD RSI. So we have our negative divergence, but we're crossed over bullish here with green histograms. So again, we're looking for this to top out and reverse over. So as soon as it curls back over, gives us red histograms, I think this will be finished. And in the near term, we're overbought in the RSI. We do have negative divergence up here, but what I think would after burning this top here, I think in the near term, we could get that slight reversal, maybe into the 8 EMA, and then look for one more high. And that will probably give us a peak here, and one more peak as a 3-peak setup there. And we're starting to cross over here, early signal, but we need to see this come back down over the 80. All right, roll over in the 80 mark here for a sell signal on stochastic. DMARC, again, we're looking for that 9 count. All right, I think we had one early. We had a 9-9. In the near term, we have a 10. We might not get to that next 9, or maybe we do. That would bring us into next week for a top. But this 10, 13 count, that would be a 9, 9, 13 count here into resistance. I think that's a good setup in itself. Okay, Elliott or Awesome Oscillator. We're getting green bars, but again, I think this is going to show a top. We had our, and what I could do here, draw this a little bit different for those who are just joining. You had your, and this is very similar to the Elliott Oscillator. We had your negative divergence here where we had a correction, and then we're getting another one as soon as it makes its top over here to end this move here. All right, let's go to SPY for the money flow. So this is my divergences page. The money flow really is a good indicator for catching negative divergences. And notice these divergences take days to weeks to happen. Okay, they don't just happen right away. This is probably a more shorter term one, and it's still, you know, ground up here for maybe a week or two. You know, it looks like almost 10 trading days. I'm not going to count them here. And you got your negative divergence, then you had your correction. So this one took 3 months to occur. This is a beautiful Wyckoff schematic one distribution, by the way, and I have a video for that if you want to check that out. And so we're looking for the same thing here for negative divergences to occur. We got that one into this one, and we showed it a correction that happened, and now we're going higher. It got a negative divergence on that top, got a correction, okay, and now we're going higher once again, and still a negative divergence once again. So let's see, this will mark a top here. It just depends on how long. Bollinger Bands, we're into the top of that Bollinger Band, just pushing. So again, I do think we're gonna have this sell signal. It's gonna come off of there, probably not a deep retracement, but it'll come off of there and go sideways for a little bit, maybe up a little bit higher after that correction. And that will be, again, this is a sell signal. This is a setup in itself right there. Here's the Elliott Oscillator. It works the same way as the Awesome Oscillator. As soon as I find another indicator that may benefit us in a different way, I might replace that Awesome Oscillator because I feel like I'm just having some redundancy. But let's see if there's at any point where these don't show the same thing. So from this point, carry on. Now the looks here, I'm not going to go through all of the different scenarios and the targets and the where we're looking for. I did all that on Friday, and I did that on the weekend analysis, and I'll post those up above. So check those out if you want to see exactly where the targets are and the different scenarios, the very bullish scenario and the topping out scenario. Let's go to VIX real quick. And so the VIX did something. It's doing something very peculiar. Whatever there's news, we were talking about this cycle phase bottoming out, and I think that happened already. And what's happening now is we're getting a pop in the VIX, but I do think that reverses and still makes a higher low. But I think it's just buying time by bouncing on for whatever reason. And now it has room to go down a little bit while the market, or maybe even up for a little bit more, and the market corrects a little bit. And then it has room to make a higher low because we don't have any positive structure here yet. We may have a low, but we don't have a higher low yet. So I think this is setting up. Again, if we get a correction tomorrow, turn around Tuesday, this will go a little higher, and then it has room to go down a bit, and the market can go up to those targets that we're talking about. And this can make a higher low while the market makes a higher high. And that would be considered divergence there. And we'll be looking for a top. Let's go to SPY 65. And just on a traditional look here. Whoops. In a traditional look, we have this sort of megaphone possibility that we have created here. And what we're going to look for is, again, I think this is a leading diagonal for a 1, 2 correction, and we might just now be finishing wave 3. Okay, so we'll go through these indicators, and then we might see a corrective sideways move here. This was such a big correction. The rules of alternation, we could have a slight quick move, and it could be really tiny, and whatever the case is, we're gonna follow some of these indicators, and then our first target is not too far away here, just a few points, maybe 5 points up. So moving averages, we're holding on to that 8 and the 20. I don't see us reaching this 50. We'd start to cross over there, and I don't think this is an ending diagonal. That would mean that you have 3 wave moves in all of this. And I see this as an impulse, A, B, not an ABC, but a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I could be wrong. That's all speculative, but let's continue on. We should likely hold these 8 and the 20 moving averages, maybe even dip a little bit and spike through it. So if we do correct, here's a possible wave 4 on the lower degree, and it's always a good sign to look at. It's always, not always, but you could, the wave 4s on larger degrees could go into those lesser degree wave 4s. So it's often that happens, I guess I'm trying to say. Okay, so the options tender setup here, we have the MACD. Now we burn through this here, so I think it's more appropriate just to raise this up, and eventually this is going to turn. And we may have already had a high in the MACD already. We kind of talked about it here when we peaked at this point, but look at that little wave 4 correction, okay? And there's a lower degree wave 4. You see what I mean? This could correct sideways to down just a little bit. And then it started to creep higher while the momentum actually lost its way there. Now, I think that could start to happen at this point, so that's a good example. And then you have the peak here on the RSI and a lower high up top there, and even another one where you had the 3 peak there. So I think the same thing could occur here. And let's look a little closer then. So we have a lower high already, so we're starting to get some divergence here, but we haven't crossed over. So let's see what happens. We had a peak here. And again, there's a negative divergence. So if this does drop a little bit and fade, then we could see the next high being another divergence there. And right now we're holding up here. The slow stochastic still heading higher. If that starts to roll over, we'll probably see this correction happen. And again, I don't think it's going to be very deep. So DMARC, we had our 9 sell signal and got a retracement here. So let's see what happens next. So we get a 1, 2, 3, or does this turn into some of the red bars and get a 13 count? That's possible too. Awesome oscillator. We got our first negative divergence in the near term. And I have to say, even though I'm looking for these targets to hit, they really don't have to. That's just what we're looking for. We do have a little bit of a gap we're holding here. All right, so negative divergence here. I'm going to borrow this one. Oh, that's a long one. Let's just... Oh, maybe I can... Nope. Sorry. So that one eventually is going to catch that top here, and I'll just borrow this one. Duplicate it. So we're looking for some divergences to play out here in the near term. Money flow. All right, so I just love this indicator here. So in the near term, we already had a corrective move, and we talked about this getting to the overbought territory. We're in that zone now, and now we could set up for a negative divergence. So if we get this correction here, again, this could be the top that could be done, but I think likely we see some sort of move sideways to down. The money flow indicator that shows distribution, money coming out of this product, And then as we make a new high and hit those targets up above, then we'll be looking for a lower high here for negative divergence. And here's the Bollinger Band. Again, a sell signal right here. We're overbought and we're at that. So there's your sell signal on the daily and the 65. Sorry about the sniffling there. And here's the LA oscillator. So we are starting to get negative divergence there, or again, on a near term, wave 3 into wave 5. That's how you look at this oscillator. And so what could happen here is this next move, pull back and go higher for the higher target here, and this actually gives you another lower high, and that would be again a wave. This is the top of a lesser degree wave 3. Now again, and this could be the top here, but I think this is a lesser degree wave 3. We get that pullback for wave 4, and we make one more divergence. And I think maybe we can get an example here. So here we made our peak, okay, and then that's a lesser degree wave 3, made another peak right here, boom. That's your also a minute wave 3 into 5, so 3 into a lower degree wave 5. And then, so that would be a higher degree wave 3 into 4. See how shallow it was? And then another peak right there, which was the final wave 5, 3 into final wave 5 of a higher degree. I hope that makes sense. You just have to get through the wave 3, 4, 5 into a wave 3, 4, and 5 into the ultimate 5 there. Okay, that means that there's levels out here, whether it's down here or up here, that have a 1 2 1 2 1 2, for example. Maybe it's this one, 1 2 1 2 1 2, that all the market structure has to play out. 3 4 5 4 5. All right, so that's what that indicator does. Okay, that's it, you guys. We're going to continue to monitor this. Is this the actual top, or do we have a 1 2? Maybe you want to see this. So here's the count, 1 2. We're looking for wave 3 to end, and then because you have your 1 2 and then 3 4 5, and now we're looking for a larger degree 4 back into this zone, and then one last 5 up here. All right, and our target is around 624 for all the reasons said earlier. So that's not too far away for that to happen. Okay. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. A little bit shorter video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching these videos and all the support. We'll see you tomorrow.